Good evening, Bahamas. Here's what's coming up tonight in our news. Police investigate the country's latest homicide. Meanwhile, a man hauled before the courts accused of 2 recent killings. Plus, the National Security Minister says a sexual offenders register is on the way.
Our news is brought to you by Outage.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, a triple shooting at a sports bar along Malcolm Road left 1 man dead and 2 others in serious condition early this morning. Police now asking the public for any information that can solve this latest killing. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
Now this right here is where the triple shooting happened. If you can just look right over there, they do have security cameras installed, but at the moment we cannot say for sure whether they are functional or not. But it is a question that we put to police.
We are of course, you know, this is the very early stages of the investigation, so detectives will be back in the area to do as much groundwork as possible and to speak with those who may wish to give us some information, who may have information.
Audrey Gibson said he lives in the area along Malcolm Road just off East Street and patronized the sports bar numerous times, but he recently stopped.
It used to be a nice spot, you know, no lie, I used to party here a lot, but I wouldn't be partying here next year.
Not anymore. According to police, just after 2 a.m., an argument broke out outside this 5-star sporting lounge, which then escalated. Moments later, shots rang out.
When officers arrived there, they spoke to a number of persons who said that 2 persons had been shot and had already been transported to hospital. Officers then proceeded to the hospital and, of course, confirmed that information that 2 persons had been shot. A short time later, we confirmed that a 3rd person was shot.
Just hours later, 1 of the men died in hospital. The 2 others, according to Superintendent Chantinose, were listed in serious condition up to this afternoon.
We are asking members of the public, especially those who were around the nightclub at the time of this incident, to give us a call with whatever information that can lead us to finding the person or persons responsible for this incident.
This latest killing pushed the country's murder count to 90. Despite the recent spree of shooting incidents, which saw 2 and now 3 shot at a time, Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson said there's no reason for the general public to fear.
These murders are not gang violence. These are incidents where you find persons who have, whether it's a conflict that cannot be resolved, and not in a gang-related issue. They are really isolated.
And with that, the commissioner says he's positive residents of New Providence are safe.
I don't need to believe that. I know the Bahamas is relatively safe. I'm a well-traveled person, and those of us who are well-traveled and recognize what goes on around the world, the Bahamas is relatively a safe place to be.
For our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Thanks, Kyle. Patrick Bowe of St. James Road was brought before Magistrate Cara Turnquest on 2 counts of murder. The 33-year-old is charged with the death of Kevisha Richards and James Johnson, who were gunned down on December 18th at a residence on New Hope Drive. According to police reports, Richards, who was 24, and her boyfriend James Johnson, who was 29, had just arrived at a home when they were approached by unknown persons who shot them. The young woman reportedly ran from the vehicle and collapsed a short distance away. Johnson crashed into a wall as he attempted to drive away. He died at the scene. In court today, Bowe was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections till February 21st, 2018. Wednesday night's police-involved shooting will be brought before the courts just as all others. That's according to the National Security Minister, who said they are just as concerned about these shootings as any other member of the public.
That, like every other matter, will be properly investigated and put before the courts. I just want to make something clear here, is that one thing that when we have these shootings, it's much a concern for the police as it is for members of the public. Because when a police officer pulls the trigger and shoots someone, there's a high level of accounting for that officer. And no one likes to see these matters drawn out. Because, like I said before in previous interviews, oftentimes it affects an officer's upward mobility.
Barry McPhee Jr. allegedly shot at police from a roof, then fled on foot. Officers said when the man emerged from nearby bushes, he ran towards them and, being in fear for their lives, they shot at the man. There have been several police-involved shootings for the year, and while Dames could not provide an update on those investigations, he says he has plans to move the process along more swiftly in 2019.
I have some ideas of some models that I've been very closely related with that hopefully will assist in speeding these matters up through the process and bringing a greater level of independence to these investigations.
Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson visiting a few stores along Bay Street this afternoon. The top brass of the police force chatted with store owners and employees as they go through perhaps their busiest time of the year.
Touch bases with the merchants on the downtown area, see how they are doing, and to ensure that they are given the support necessary to make sure that customers like yourself and other members of the public come down and spend some money with them, particularly during this festive season. And you would note that I brought my executives with me and I told them that it is free. They are free to shop.
Visitation from the public? Know that it's always around. We always feel very safe.
Store employees at Pandora and Diamonds International appeared pleasantly surprised to see the top cop stop in.
Today seems to be a good day. There are lots of people as I look around downtown shopping, tourists and Bahamians alike, which is a good thing. It makes me feel good to know that people are actually shopping and really not thinking about those other things that would prevent them from shopping.
Bahamas Power and Light Company has completed its investigations into yesterday's outage that impacted thousands of consumers in central and western New Providence. The outage, which occurred at 2:47 p.m., affected just under 50% of the island. While initial reports indicated that the outage was caused by a cable fault at the company's Big Pond substation, officials said in a statement further investigations revealed that a circuit breaker suffered significant catastrophic failure, and as a result, the substation had to be isolated from BPL's network. Fire services was called to the site as a precautionary measure. 20% of affected consumers had their power restored after the outage. However, restoration efforts were impeded because of the need to reroute feeder services from the damaged Big Pond substation. All remaining impacted customers weren't restored until almost midnight. The company said it is in the process of implementing improvements and structural upgrades to its network to increase reliability in New Providence and the Family Islands. Rape is up by 12%, and it's that number that is pushing the National Security Minister towards implementing a sexual offenders register. Gillian Gray has more.
Following the recent uptick in rape cases, the National Security Minister is renewing his commitment to introduce a sexual offenders register. Back in May, Dames had promised a sexual offenders register by the end of this year. However, that did not happen.
We've been working on these things. We've been doing, we're looking at the regulations in relations to the registry, and I'm hoping that we put that before Cabinet early in January. We've basically completed everything we needed to from our end. As far as the alert is concerned, as you know, we've been running some testings on the alert, and that is going extremely well. So you can expect to see that in early January.
Recent crime numbers show that rape cases increased from 49 in 2017 to 55 in 2018. That's up by 12%. Following the 2011 murder of 11-year-old Marco Archer, the former administration in 2013 made an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act, making way for a sexual offenders registry. Dames said they hope to achieve this goal in the shortest time possible.
I'm hoping that sometime in January, between AJ and myself, can have that before Cabinet, and then we'll move it from there. But hopefully before the first quarter of 2019, that can become a reality. It's a priority of ours.
For years, nonprofit organizations like the Bahamas Rights Group have been pushing for that piece of legislation. Dames said consultation with the relevant stakeholders has already begun, and they look to continue that into next year.
In my ministry, for example, we've been doing some things with certain corners of the community to get their feedback and get their views as it relates to the registry. But I'm anxious to see this move, and I've been putting considerable amount of pressure on my team to move it quickly so that we can get this behind us.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
Thanks, Jillian. With Christmas just days away, many Bahamians are planning family feasts and making last-minute gift purchases for their loved ones. While some are fortunate enough to celebrate the holidays with little to no stress, there are those who aren't so lucky.
Better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
But not for 31-year-old Traquel De La France's kids. The Baintown resident says she lost her job last November and hasn't recovered since. She says added tax burdens have only made things worse.
It's not well right now. It's very horrible. Everything is horrible. Everything. Because to go buy Christmas gifts, we got to worry about extra VAT. We got this light bill going on. My kids can't even get a bicycle right now because I'm not working. Every time I go to a government place looking for a job, there's nothing. They always tell you ain't nothing happening. It's who you know to get something.
De La France says Christmas dinner isn't happening either.
I can't even buy Christmas dinner, honey. I'm broke. I can't even afford Christmas dinner. If I go there and ask them for something, they ain't gonna give me nothing. They ain't even gonna help you. So, no.
De La France isn't the only person who will have to bypass gift giving in lieu of making sure other obligations are met.
Well, I ain't got no money for toys. I can tell you true because I have so much bills to pay, so whatever I can do, I'll do.
Bernadette Arthur says despite the challenges, she will do what she can to help her neighbors.
If they come, I'll give them help. Although I don't have none for myself, I'll still give them help, a little of what I got.
And that's what the Christmas season's all about.
Yeah. You gotta help one another, you know.
I don't represent Christmas. As long as I can live and have something to eat every day. My problem is I'm currently unemployed.
Casey Culmer also says despite not having a job, she'll be as generous as she can during this holiday season.
I don't know, I have a lot of love in my heart. That's how I grew up. I like to help others. It's be returned back to me.
Everything remained the same. Ain't nothing changed, mister.
They all in one cycle.
Everything remained the same. Ain't nothing changed.
But it's life is what you make it.
Same thing was happening to the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's all happening.
Dan Williams is an 80-year-old grandfather who hasn't worked in 16 years. He says he can't do anything for his family this Christmas as he lives from welfare check to welfare check.
Right. Dead broke. Yeah. Busted and disgusted and hard to trust him. I'm dead broke.
And while the Christmas season may be a bit gloomy for many, some try to find the silver lining. 62-year-old Stephanie Rigby says she's grateful to have her mother, kids and grandkids to celebrate with. Asked how she keeps it together for her large family, Rigby replied,
Well, I'll say through Christ that strengthened me. I support it all.
Still to come on our news, the Angleston MP responds to recent comments by the Prime Minister. Plus, PHA making progress with doctors and nurses. That's coming up when our news returns.